Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This week we are going to be talking about the client consultations. So here in Maryland, we're kind of wrapping up engagement season really, and the holidays have passed, Valentine's Day has passed, and there are lots of newly engaged couples that are planning their weddings for this year and next year. This got me thinking about my whole consultation process and what that looks like. Consultations can be kind of scary. I remember getting super nervous before consultations and not knowing what to say or what to bring up or what they were going to ask me and that kind of thing. So I thought, if you are in my shoes where I used to be a few years ago and you're going to go into a client consultation, that I want to set you guys up for success. And I want to give you guys these 10 tips that some of them are from before the meeting even starts, during the meeting, and after the meeting, for how you can come across more professional and hopefully book way more of these client consultations. So let's dive in. So the first thing you need to do before the meeting is provide your price. If you're not going to give them your complete price list, at least give them a starting price or an average investment price. That is what I do. I don't want my pricing to be a big secret and to waste my time and their time when they may not be able to afford me. That way, when you go into your meeting, you're not talking about numbers. You're not only talking about pricing. You can talk about who they are as a couple, what their day is going to look like, and their themes, and just make sure that you're a good fit instead of it being all numbers. After you've given them your pricing, you're going to choose a location. Now, you want to choose a location that reflects your brand, so it kind of fits with what you are selling, and that also is professional. So I like to choose coffee shops, hopefully something more mom and pop instead of big chain, because I like it to be a little quieter, a little more time and space. The tables need to be a little bigger so that we can look through some sample albums and things like that. So when you're choosing your location, be mindful of how professional it can come off. Next, you're going to want to arrive early. So if you're meeting at 12, make sure that you're 15 minutes early. Be there at 11:45 and decide where you're going to sit. Lay out your sample albums. Make sure that that first initial meeting with them, they see that you've taken the time, the consideration. And a lot of times I found my clients arrive early too. So it's great whenever I'm early, and it just looks way better than them waiting on you. The last thing you want is for your client to be waiting on you. You, of course, also want to dress professionally. So even though I meet my clients at a coffee shop, I'm going to dress a little nicer than if I were meeting a friend at a coffee shop. This is my client's first impression of me in person, and I want to make sure that it lines up with what I have online, but also that I just look professional, because they're going to be making very quick judgments as to whether or not they trust me with their wedding day pictures, and I don't blame them. Next, you'll want to make sure before you meet that all the important decision makers are going to be present. So maybe this is mom and dad, maybe this is a family member, or maybe it's just your couple. Either way, make sure that everybody who's going to have an influence in that final decision is present. Okay, so you're at the meeting. What do you bring and what do you say? So we touched on this a little bit earlier when I mentioned sample albums. So you'll want to have samples of your work. I like to have physical albums, prints, things that they can just look through and spread out on the table in front of them rather than on a screen. I also sometimes bring an iPad if I have a wedding that's taking place at the same venue and I want to show them specific work. You can do an iPad, you can do a slideshow of any kind, but the important thing is that you have samples of your work that are reflective of your current and best portfolio. The next thing you'll want to have at the actual meeting is a leave behind. So this is a sample contract, maybe your business cards, some collections, information, so that they don't have to feel like they need to take notes or remember every single thing you say, that they will be able to take this, and it has your branding all over it, of course, and they can review it at their own pace on their own time. Next thing you'll want is to have something to take notes on. Now, I have a consultation worksheet. It's very small, it just has a couple of questions, but it helps me keep track of anything that they say specifically that I'd like to remember. That sheet is going to end up in their file folder if they book. So I'm going to throw that in there with their signed contract. And it also helps keep the meeting moving if they don't have any questions or they're particularly shy or anything like that. It helps me to keep moving. Sometimes I don't use it. You just really read the meeting. Sometimes they have plenty to say and you're really connecting and you don't need to take notes. But I think it's professional to take notes, especially if they have questions and you want to specifically be able to follow up on something that they've said. It helps you to stay on top of that. So be sure to take notes, but don't have your head down and taking notes the entire time. Take a few notes, but be sure to keep the conversation moving. So of course, during your meeting, you're going to talk about their day. They're going to ask you questions. You're going to probably cover some policies and things like that about your company and what it is to book you. But at the very end, be sure to say, if it's true, I would like to work with you. Be sure to tell them, I love your theme. I think you guys are awesome. And I love to be a part of your wedding day. This is something that I didn't do for years. And I realized when I was talking to another mentor of mine, and they were specifically saying, this is something that you need to say. If you think you're a good fit, you need to tell them that. So be sure to tell them that you want to work with them. All right, we're at the final 2 points. After the meeting, you want to show gratitude. You want to send them a thank you note, even if it's just an email. Thank them for their time. Thank them for considering you. They have a lot of options, and it's something that I think all wedding professionals should point out and say, hey, you got lots of options. Thank you so much for taking 20 minutes to sit down with me and review my work. This also opens the line of communication where you can say, if you have any questions or if you'd like to see a proposal, which is my final step, I can send that to you. So at that point, I would send a proposal and hopefully go ahead and book them. So that's it. Those are my 10 tips or steps for how to have a successful client consultation. If you have any questions or you'd like to share how you conduct your client consultations, we are going to continue the conversation in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye guys.